my name's Sam Juparilla Wickman. I work with the Aboriginal Health Service here in Albury and Wodonga. It's called AWAS. My role here is a cultural advisor, and today, children, I'll be reading you the story, the legend of the Seven Sisters, which is a traditional story from Western Australia. This is for, in fact, Literacy Day on the 2nd of September. This story is dedicated to the children of the original descendants of the Wongutha people who came from all over the Eastern Goldfields to live at Mount Margaret Mission in Western Australia. Long, long ago, when only Aboriginal people lived in Australia, there were small men known as Yayas. The Yayas walked all over the country. Sometimes they would leave the earth and travel up to the Milky Way. When they came back down to earth, they would land on a special plateau. There. From here, Yaya men could see far into the distance. They would watch the Aboriginal people as they went about their business and listen to the happy sounds the children made. Yaya men visited many important Aboriginal communities in Wiluna, Laverton, Kalgoorlie and Menzies. They also went to the Warburton Ranges, Musgrove Park and the Northern Territory to find out what was happening in these areas. And here they are sitting on their plateau when they come down from the Milky Way all the way down to their plateau, looking at other Aboriginal families there and children and listening to them talk and play. One day, the Seven Sisters decided to visit Earth. On the way, they passed through many twinkling stars. They looked for the plateau to land on, but they found it was crowded with Yaya men. The sisters yelled out to the little men to move out of the way, but the little men paid no attention to their shouts. This upset the sisters so much that they started to cry. In the end, the sisters landed on another hill. Here are the Seven Sisters coming down in the Milky Way, down here, and there are the naughty Yaya men who wouldn't let them land there. This hill is called Yabu, Yalangul. It means the hill on which they cried. That's where the Seven Sisters cried, because those naughty men wouldn't let them in. From their plateau, the Yaya men watched the Seven Sisters as they made their way through the bush. The little men thought they were the prettiest women they had ever seen. And here they are walking through the bush and the little men following them. They'll make us good wives, suggested one of the Yaya men. Let's follow them, said another. They all hurried after the women. The women saw the little men following them. Let's keep close together, they whispered. We don't want to become their wives. After a while, the Yaya men grew tired of following the women. However, one little man kept following. He wanted a wife very badly. Here they are, the Yaya men there, following the Seven Sisters through the bush. He turned to the other men and said, Nyalalu deju wangalu, noiba mbunga. He turned to the other men and said, I will follow. You lot can go. And here he is following still. Okay? He kept the Seven Sisters in sight as he crept quietly through the bush after them. The Yaya man was careful where he placed his feet. He made sure he didn't tread on any of the dead branches lying on the ground. This would tell the sisters that someone was following them. He waited for one of the sisters to lead the group. After walking for some time, one of the sisters felt hot and thirsty. She started to wander away from the others to look for water. "Ah, now I'll see if she likes me," said the Yaya man, with a cheeky smile on his face. He moved quickly and quietly after her, and we can see here he's following her, hiding behind bushes and being ever so quiet. The sister was not aware that the Yaya man was following her. She was only thinking about finding water to quench her thirst. The Yaya man followed closely as the sister climbed down the hill and walked across the dry clay pan. She kept on walking until she came upon some water in a creek bed. Hurrying to the water, the sister slumped down, hitting the coarse sand with her knees. Forming her hands into a cup, she scooped up water and started to drink. The breeze cooled her face. Just then, she heard a snap of a twig. Turning around, she saw the figure of a Yaya man. He was watching her from behind the bush close by. There he is there. Here she is. She's having a drink of water and feeling nice and cool, but she heard the twig break. When the sister looked at him, he smiled, but said nothing. The sister was frightened. She jumped up and ran like she'd never run before. She crossed the salt lake and began to run up a hill. The Yaya man was right behind her. The sister kept running. Her heart was thumping loudly as she gasped for breath. She knew she had to escape. The Yaya man was too fast for the sister. He grabbed hold of her. She struggled with the little man and tried to get away from him, but he held on to her and wouldn't let her go. The sister kept struggling and shouting for him to let her go. The Yaya man was frightened by her shouts. He picked up a big stick and swung it towards her. The sister moved just in time and the stick missed her. Instead, it hit the side of the hill, making a mark. On this rock, we can still see those marks today. They look like ridges that were sometimes seen in the sand. The Yaya man tried to hit her again, and each time more marks were made on the rock. And here he is, the Yaya man, dragging the young sister away. The two struggled for a long time. Finally, the sister broke free. She ran towards the hill where the 7 sisters had landed on earth. When she got there, she clambered up the side. In the distance, she could hear the Yaya man's voice calling after her. She hurried to the landing spot on the plateau and looked around for her other sisters. But she could tell by the shadows that she was too late. They had returned to the sky. Trembling and shaking all over, the sister cried out aloud, "I'm alone! What will I do?" The sister cried and cried for a long time. Then, when she looked up into the sky, she could see her 6 sisters. The sister left the earth and began her journey to be with her sisters once again. And here she is on the hill, crying and singing out for her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other sisters, but they were up in the Milky Way. It was a very nice tale of the legend of the 7 sisters. I hope you enjoyed that, children, and I hope you've looked and listened to all of the series of storytelling. Thank you for having me. Bye.